Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? This is very exciting because we have the one, the only Andrea Boccaletti, who plays Derek in episode, I guess it's technically episode 2. Is that right? Models and Mortals of the original season of Sex and the City. And you play this very elusive character who is much discussed and much missed over time. And it's so amazing to have you. And I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I have many, many questions.
It's such a pleasure to be here and to see you again after so long.
Thank you. I know. I mean, so long.
Yeah. I think I saw you at a movie theater across from Lincoln Center for some premiere one time. And that's the last time I ever saw you.
Was it the one with the beds? Do you remember how there's one where we had like beds outside where I was like, what did Peggy do? Peggy, remember Peggy, the event planner? And they were like crazy, those parties. Yeah. I remember that. And I remember thinking, because I wasn't there when you worked, you know? Because only Sarah Jessica was, right? Yeah. And especially back then, we moved so quickly, you know? And so like if you weren't in the storylines with the other people, you just kind of missed out and you couldn't wait to see it, you know, in the finished version.
You know better than I do. So.
Well, I mean, that's how it was. And that's how we felt about you. And I think because you played such an interesting character who was based on a real model, but you were also modeling, correct? Before. Yes. Okay. So take me back to what your life was like in 1997, what you remember.
Well, I really wanted to quit modeling.
Okay.
I had done it for 4.5 years, and I really burnt out. I mean, I had it up to here.
It's a hard job.
Yeah. It was just grueling, the traveling, just never being able to settle down ever.
Yeah.
And never have a relationship.
Yeah.
And it was just...
Never have a dog.
All over the map. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're into dogs, but I mean like you just don't have a life.
At one point, I traveled more than flight attendants did.
Wow.
So,
I mean, that's being super successful, but it's also very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you were already at the ripe age of
28.
Wow, burnt. You were burnt on the modeling.
Yep.
Okay, so you wanted to act.
I wanted to act, and so I was. I got with an agency named J. Michael Bloom.
Yeah.
And they were handling a couple of people. Maury, J. Michael Bloom was handling a couple of people that wanted to make the transition from modeling into acting.
Right.
And this was the first audition. So,
amazing!
So, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many times you had to go in?
I went in twice.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, just the initial audition, and then the callback with Sarah.
Got it.
And to prepare for that, I went to a video store and I rented any movie that I could find with Sarah in it.
How fun!
And just wanted to get familiar with her because I knew that I was going to have to be right in front of her and doing the lines with her, and I wanted to be comfortable.
Yeah,
and were you? I wanted to feel like I already knew her a little bit.
Did it work out?
It did, actually. It helped a lot.
She's so easy to work with.
She is.
Yeah, I mean,
very supportive.
I think sometimes right, and I mean, you're so great. You're so great in that episode. I was like, why did we not have him back? Why?
No, I was supposed to come back in the 8th episode.
What the heck?
And then Dennis Erdman, who's Darren's boyfriend, just he said, "Don't take it personally. The writing just took a turn, and that's what happens." And I was really bummed. But maybe if I'd been in season 2, I might have been able to develop more of a character or something. But I know first season it was.
Oh, we didn't know
really
what we were
about
doing.
all your experiences and Mr. Big. So
that is very valid, but I feel 2 things. Number one, you know, we had these for season 1. Once we got picked up here, you know, I was here in LA, Michael was here in LA, Michael Patrick King, Darren was here in LA, and we got picked up. But Darren had the writers' room here in LA with a bunch of writers that we literally never met. We don't even still know. Like I don't know who they are. I could see one in the hall. I wouldn't know that they were them. So we didn't have our team yet, you know, really like congealed. And later on we would get them and we would have Michael Patrick King. Then we had, I believe at one point we had 6 women writers, which was great. But we were kind of just leaping off of Candace's book. And Candace had this story in there based on that other model who apparently auditioned to play himself, but they told him he was too old.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
And we were friends.
I know.
We were friends is the magic word because something happened at that premiere party. After it premiered and we were all there and the party, I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere on the west side. It was a cool little club. And
I don't know either.
This reporter came up to me from the Daily News.
Right.
and asked me about, how it was to have been chosen to play the part and how it was shooting. And then he asked me about why he thinks that why do I think Michael Bergen didn't get it? And I said, well, it's probably because he's on Baywatch. And he was on Baywatch at the time, yeah.
I forgot that.
And this reporter added a line that I never said that really sounded like I said something bad about Michael.
Oh, no.
And it ended up in the Daily News or Russian Malloy column.
Oh, awful.
And
I remember Russian Malloy.
And it was just awful. It just hit me so hard, and I just felt terrible. And I had to put out, well, for lack of a better word, I had to put out a lot of fires. People were calling me, what the hell did you say?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
I mean, listen.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned for sure. But honestly, I've been doing this a long time, as you know. And there's crazy gossip has always been around us. Here I'm doing the podcast where I'm literally in charge, right? The clickbait headlines that they come up with over what I'm saying on this podcast shock even me after 30 years. I'm like, what? I made a joke one time. I should know better, right? But it's hard. I'm here talking. It's very intimate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made a joke saying that Sarah Jessica was still mad about the bridesmaids dresses I didn't make her wear, that Pat made her wear in Charlotte's wedding. They're like headlines, Sarah Jessica still mad at Kristen. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a joke, you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
It is really crazy. So anyway, what this reporter said and what he printed was, Boccaletti says of Bergen, it's probably because he's on Baywatch, and that's not saying much. So it really looks like I put him down.
Oh, no.
And I never would have done that. We were friends, but
That's
again, we have not spoken since that time.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, I wish we could fix that. It's the worst feeling in the world when something like this happens and you can't control it because you're just a nice person in the middle of this insanity,
Naive. Yeah.
Well, naive, but also I'm not naive anymore, but I still say stuff.
Yeah, it still happens, right?
Yeah, that I think is fine because I know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But in print, it can look a different way if they want to make it look a different way, right? That's the thing. So tell me what you remember about filming the whole sequence. Because obviously, my favorite part is when you get back to Carrie's and you're like, can we just lay here? Can we just cuddle? I don't know what you say. It's the cutest thing in the world. I think you're incredible.
Not my lines, but I mean, it was a fun experience. That day, I don't remember too much about that day, except for us having to wait a long time because some of the girls, I don't know, there was a scene, maybe if you said you weren't there, then it wasn't the scene with all of you, but it was the scene with one of the others, with either Kim Cattrall or Cynthia Nixon, where we had to wait a while because they were take after take after take of the same
This is the
scene.
way. Yeah, this is the way.
And quite ironically, in our scene, we never did anything more than 4 times, I don't think.
Wow.
So any more than 4 takes.
Oh, you should pat yourself on the back.
Great. So,
that's amazing.
But so I don't remember much about that day. I remember about being on the bed with her, just being in the apartment, moving around from the kitchen over to the bookshelf and then into the bed. But I remember that when it came time for the panning up from the floor, like the morning after.
Right.
And I'm lying beside her, and Alison McLean was the director. Right. And I just remember to have this idea to really hide myself so that you don't even know that I'm in the bed.
Which is super clever. I love it. Yeah,
when the camera's panning up.
Right.
And then you finally see me and the phone rings and it's
Willie.
It's Stanford.
Yes, Stanford.
God rest his soul.
I know. I was going to get to him next, right? I want to talk about him. Yeah.
But anyway, just remember that, and it's just a really super nice day. And I was a little bit nervous, and I asked Sarah, like, how am I doing? And she's like, "You're great. You're doing great." And she's again very supportive.
I'm so glad. Yeah. Tell me about Willie. What do you remember about Willie? Because the scene where you're in the fashion show when they come to see you is so good.
I don't remember much about Willie, actually. I think we shot that scene in a club called Cameo.
Okay, I was wondering where that was. Cameo, was interesting.
Off of, what was that, 3rd Avenue or something?
I don't know. I didn't get to go there.
Yeah.
And the whole beginning, in terms of like locations, I was just like, I don't know where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are you from out here?
I am from South Carolina, and I had moved here right before, maybe like 3 years before the show. maybe more, but I did Melrose here. So I was already working here with Darren, and then I got the show. But I had lived there first and then here, but I don't seem like it. Like when I see the pilot, I'm like, that girl doesn't know nothing about New York. That's what I think to myself. You know what I mean?
You did a great job.
Thank you so much. It evolved, though, as you said. It evolved. It evolved for sure. But I mean, I remember, like, when I look back now, because I had not seen these episodes in almost 30 years. I saw them in when they first were made. They would send us VHS tapes, and we would excitedly watch them. But those bars and clubs or whatever, I mean, they look like we just found a basement and threw some people in it, you know? But is that what they were like? Like, are they real? I mean, is Cameo like a real place?
No, Cameo was a real club.
Wow.
I don't think I'd ever been, I'd maybe been there for one other event. But yeah, it was actually near my house because I lived on 10th and University. Actually, funny enough, right near Christopher Noth. Yeah, I would bump into him a few times in the neighborhood. I bet you did.
But also, what a great address. That's dreamy. That's
the
dreamy.
Albert on 10th and University. Yeah.
How great. Okay, so you go on the show. It goes well. You think you're going to be in episode 8. They had told you this?
I was put on a veil.
Okay.
And it canceled, I think, 3 weeks before.
Well, I don't even remember what episode 8 is.
Me neither. Actually.
Interesting.
I should have watched it again last
Darn
night.
it. No, that's okay. Yeah. But and then you never heard anything else?
Yeah.
Because you were discussed. You were discussed.
Yeah. Like I wanted to come back in one of the movies. I thought maybe they'd call me back. Maybe Derek comes back and he's not so much of a nice guy. And
oh my gosh, anything.
That would have been
it could have been
great.
so many things. And then, I mean, I feel like we talked about you forever and everybody was always like, where's Derek?
So nice.
Where's Derek? You know what I mean? Where is he? What happened to him? Why can't we see him?
Yeah, I remember being at the second year rap party for your second season. And all of the girls, all of you were like, the bone stack.
Yes, because we were always just talking about you and waiting for you to come back.
I missed you girls. Aww. I mean, I cried actually. You know, the last day of my third day of filming was at Silver Cup Studios.
Yes.
And I asked to be dropped off. I mean, I was being dropped off at like 5:30 in the morning.
That's how we roll,
From the night of shooting.
Yes.
And I asked to be dropped off 2.5 blocks or 3 blocks from my house. And I just remember fully crying. And I had this little video camera with me, and I was filming myself. I was doing a selfie before selfies were really known. Filming myself crying.
Incredible.
Because it was so emotional. I had such a nice time and a fun time doing that.
I'm happy to hear that.
So.
Wow. Well, we missed out by not having you back because your energy in that episode with her, because she's so kind of, you know, she's thinking and she's so kind of crackly and, you know, together, and you're just so simple, but also so beautiful. Like, it's such an interesting contrast. And then also Willie's so like, blah, 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 you know, into you and, you know, doing his whole shtick really like, you know, of like, I'm your manager, but I'm really in love with you. There's just so much great stuff. I wish that we had had a better, my memory of the first season is that we didn't know if we were a comedy or if we were supposed to be pushing the sexuality. So like 1 week Darren would say like, funny, everyone has to be funny, come on, be funny. And we'd just be like, did you change the script? Or we're just supposed to be funnier with what's written? Like, what do you mean? And then the next week he'd be like, sexier. And I'd be like, me? Like, really? Like, I'm not, okay. But what, you know, we were very much.
That's great. I mean, it worked so well.
It did. I mean, it worked well eventually, I think, because HBO allowed us to flail around like that, you know. Actually,
it's funny. They cut one line from from everything that I did in those 3 days. And maybe it was too risque at the moment.
What?
Is that right before Sarah and I get into the cab to go to her apartment, I said, you know, I can't take these crowds. You know, can we, whatever, I need to get out of here. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have a joint.
And they cut that?
Right before I get in the cab. And they cut that, yeah.
That's so weird.
So I guess that was too risque. That was too pushing it too far for
That's crazy.
For that first ever episode after the pilot.
That's so crazy because it makes perfect sense. Also, I do think that might be the last time I remember her talking to camera. Because you get in the cab and then she has to like turn. Isn't that when she has to turn over the cab and talk to the camera, which is so awkward and weird. There's a lot of fans who are like, we love the talking to the camera. But can you imagine like you're doing a scene and then you just have to be like, blah, 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 blah. Like it's very, very strange as an actor. Very strange.
The more better, the merrier. Title of your podcast. All your old Brooklyn Nine-Nine friends are appearing on your favorite podcast, More Better. Don't miss Brooklyn Nine-Nine stars and show hosts Stephanie Beatriz and Melissa Fumero as they welcome their friends and former castmates back to laugh about old times and swap some stories. This week, it's Gina Linetti herself, the talented Chelsea Peretti.
Remember when we were in that scene where you guys were just supposed to hug and I was standing there?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, can I also hug them?
Then next week, the 9-9 nonsense continues as the More Better Amigas sit down with Joe Latrulio, a.k.a. Detective Charles Foyle. There'll be more laughs, more conversation, more stories from the set, and more Better. Don't miss a minute.
You felt safe enough to throw out a bad idea, right? I mean, that is the key because you're definitely not throwing out good ideas all the time. I mean, that's just not how it works.
Listen to More Better with Stephanie and Melissa on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Mark Seal.
And I'm Nathan King.
This is Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli.
The 5 families did not want us to shoot that picture.
Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli is based on my co-host Mark's best-selling book of the same title. And on this show, we call upon his years of research to help unpack the story behind The Godfather's birth from start to finish.
This is really the first interview I've done in bed.
We sift through innumerable accounts.
35 pages isn't very much.
Many of them conflicting.
That's nonsense. There were 60 pages.
And try to get to the truth of what really happened.
And they said, we're finished. This is over. The movie's not going to work. You gotta get rid of those guys. It's a disaster.
Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli features new and archival interviews with Francis Ford Coppola, Robert Evans, James Caan, Talia Shire, and many others.
Yes, that was a real horse's head.
Listen and subscribe to Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to My Legacy. I'm Martin Luther King III, and together with my wife, Andrea Waters King, and our dear friends Mark and Craig Kilberger, we explore the personal journeys that shape extraordinary lives.
Each week, we'll sit down with inspiring figures like David Oyelowo, Mel Robbins, Martin Sheen, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and Billy Porter. And their plus one, their ride or die, as they share stories never heard before about their remarkable journey.
Listen to My Legacy on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is My Legacy.
Something about Mary Poppins?
Something about Mary Poppins. Exactly.
Oh, man, this is fun.
I'm AJ Jacobs, and I am an author and a journalist, and I tend to get obsessed with stuff. And my current obsession is puzzles. And that has given birth to my podcast, The Puzzler. Dressing.
Oh, French dressing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
Now, you can get your daily puzzle nuggets delivered straight to your ears.
I thought to myself, I bet I know what this is. And now I definitely know what this is.
This is so weird. This is fun. Let's try this one.
Our brand new season features special guests like Chuck Bryant, Mayim Bialik, Julie Bowen, Sam Sanders, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and lots more. Listen to The Puzzler every day on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That's awful, and I should have seen it coming.
Okay, so let's get back to you. So you do this, you're sad, which breaks my heart. I wish we had had more sense. I don't think we had a plan. I think we were just rolling with it. Obviously a mistake on our part. What did you do? What went on? Did you model more? Did you?
No, I mean, I modeled a little bit. I mean, the big mistake that I did was I was at a movie premiere party one time and I went with a casting director named Todd Thaler. And anyway, not important, but somebody from William Morris saw me and saw me there with Todd and wanted to have a meeting with me to go and meet with them for representation. Mm-hmm. And I made the big mistake of making that leap, that jump to William Morris because I wasn't ready at the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like being
a big
thrown to the
agency.
wolves.
Yeah.
And also, I had just booked something with J. Michael Bloom, and it's this great little small agency.
Yeah,
and it just,
that's hard.
But someone told me, strike while the kettle's hot. And
they're not wrong.
It just was the wrong move.
I know, it's hard though. You don't know.
Really
you don't
regret
know.
doing that. And then that piece that came out really hurt me, really hurt my confidence too. And it's just so
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it was kind of threw me off course a little bit. I mean, of course I modeled a little bit here and there because I was officially retired, but
oh wow.
But they throw some really good money at you to do something. I'm like, all right, sure. I'll do the Carolina Herrera fragrance 212.
Yes.
And launch the campaign. And so I did that for a while. I feel like I just basically partied in New York for 6 years also.
I don't think you were alone.
Yeah. I mean,
that was what people did.
Yeah. Nights. I mean, I remember many a day waking up at 2 or 3 p.m.
Wow.
So, I had just come off of working really successfully in the fashion world and just I don't know, just having fun in the city.
Yeah.
Having sex in the city too. So
I'm sure you did. Now let me ask you this. Did you know Candace Bushnell before? Or
I did not. I met her on set, I think that first day.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then were you guys friends? Did you
We
don't say too much. Sorry.
Yeah, we became friends. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Because I know there are pictures of you out there, and I didn't know if maybe she knew you before, because she did know kind of everybody. She did know kind of everyone.
Yeah, she's a fun girl.
Yeah. And did you feel at the time? Had you read her column and the book? Like, did you know the whole?
Knew nothing
background?
about it before. No.
Got it. So you didn't necessarily know. Oh, this was Candace's life that it was based on. You didn't really realize.
I think I was learning that on set that day.
Got it.
I mean, if I was even paying attention to that, I think I was just more paying attention to being in the scenes.
What you had to do,
But yeah, I mean, obviously learned that at some point afterwards.
Interesting.
And then got the book. She gave me a copy of the book.
Sure.
And so it was. Fond memories of her. She's a fun, crazy character. Yeah.
Definitely, most definitely. I mean, she created the whole
created something
beginning.
Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Darren Star. Did you? So
I didn't know Darren either, and wonderful meeting him. And I just remember when I finished, I sent flowers to Darren and to Sarah afterwards, thanking them for a wonderful experience.
Polite.
No, but I mean,
you're like too good to be in this world.
I know, it's funny.
I'm so impressed.
I don't feel like I was so good at the time. Actually, I feel like life has almost imitated art since doing those scenes.
Wow.
Because I was not shy and apprehensive with women.
Got it.
I mean, I was like,
I understand. You were feeling your power. You'd been
traveling all over the world definitely
fed into. Got it.
To my lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, that is interesting, because that's what was so disarming about you on camera, is that you were so beautiful, and we are introduced to you in the modeling world, and Stanford like gushing over you, and then you're just like disarmingly like real, and like, this is overwhelming, and you don't see that coming at all. Like, I didn't really even remember how good it was. Like, so many things I don't remember how good. I had kind of thought, the first season we just didn't know what we were doing. When I look back on it, I'm like, no, everything's amazing. It's not gelled 100% how it would end up being, but it's all there. And it's all working, and you especially. And then for some reason, we just talk about you forever. And Willie talks about you, Stanford. Everyone's mixed up in my mind, right? The real person and the fake person. But, I remember talking about you, and I like, do you know Every Outfit SATC? It's on the Instagram. It's an Instagram.
Every Outfit?
No. Yeah. No, you don't know them. They have. We know them. We love them.
Yeah.
They have a thing that began. They had gone, I think, to Pratt. They'd gone to fashion school, and they loved Pat Field and her creativity and kind of like, really incredible uniqueness of our costume design. And they started a thing where they would analyze every outfit. That was how they began. I think they're called just Every Outfit now. They ended up going. Now they're a podcast. They were just Instagram. They used to talk about you a lot.
Really?
Like, they're going to be very jealous that I have you.
I mean, do they have my outfit on this?
I think they must have discussed, or they must have discussed, like, where did you go? Why don't we ever get you back?
They have this whole, okay.
Yeah, they have theories of what happened to you. Did you move to Iowa?
Wow.
Do we say in the show that you moved to Iowa? I think we might.
I don't know.
I think we might.
Really?
I think Derek quits the business.
I just wanted to move to Iowa and be a cop, have kids and be a cop.
That was it.
Yeah.
I think that's what we say, which is crazy and weird. It must have been based on something. I know.
I was Stanford's only client ever on the show, right?
Correct.
That you saw in person.
Yes. You were, and literally, I think the only one we ever heard of for a long time until, and just like that. And then he had another client that then he goes to Kyoto and becomes a monk, which, we unfortunately had to do. We wanted him to have a fictional place where we could picture him at peace. You know? Yeah, that was our idea. For Sweet Willie. I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
But thank you. Ooh, your hand's cold. Let me warm it up. Okay, so let me ask you, how on earth did you get into real estate?
I got into real estate, it was a moment of being out here and really...
so you moved out here?
I moved out here in 2003, actually. Okay. I probably never should have left New York.
Oh.
I should have stayed for a little while longer. But,
okay.
But anyway, it was this opportunity. A bunch of my friends had moved out here, and I just came out. I actually booked a ticket to come out. I didn't pay for it. I let it expire, and then magically got booked on a job that weekend to shoot another little editorial with Matthew Ralston, this photographer.
I know Matthew Ralston.
Yeah.
He filmed one of our crazy promos in the white hat where we have to lip sync.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so came out that weekend and he took me for a hike up Runyon Canyon, and I was just looking out on the city and I said, wow, this is really nice. And I love nature so much. And
this is how I ended up here too.
Yeah.
Not Matthew Ralston, but similar. Yes.
So my friend said, Andrea, I think you belong here. I said, oh, okay. And basically, I went back to New York, was going to Italy for my summer vacation, but 2 months after being back from that vacation, I closed up shop and I moved out here.
Wow.
And I'd already been living in Boerum Hill for 1 year. I sold my apartment on 10th Street.
Right.
Moved to Boerum Hill thinking I would rebuy somewhere else in Manhattan, and never did. Once one foot was out, the other left as well.
I get it. I do think New York is an interesting thing because, like, on the one hand, obviously I'm back there all the time and I do love it, but I love living here too.
Yeah,
it's
hectic. It's so crazy.
It is hectic there. Yeah. It is. You can get a little worn out.
Yeah.
But so you're a real estate agent in the Palisades.
Yeah. So
tell us.
Yeah. So I came out. I was a real estate agent in the Palisades.
And you will be again.
Yeah, I will. Let's hope. The office is still standing miraculously. Everything around it burned.
Unbelievable.
Everything.
Wow.
Except for Caddy Corner is the start of Rick Russo's village, or that long line of shops there.
Yes.
But
maybe his guys put the fire hose over on your building.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe we got some overspray from when he was saving the village. Yeah.
Maybe.
But so been doing that, and I don't know when I'll be back in the Palisades. I really loved going there because many times I live in Venice Beach.
Oh, that's
I'll hop on my motorcycle and just shoot up and up the PCH and up Chautauqua and go to the office. I really love that.
Yeah. It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, but I'm
maybe
here.
Not in 2025.
This is how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But at least you didn't live there. So that's good. And good that you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel for everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for 4.5 years so I was getting to how I got into it.
Yeah.
I had just been volunteering so much time for so many different causes, environmental causes, political activism, working on presidential campaigns, and even on the Obama re-election campaign. I trained people to come into that campaign and how to speak to people and how to phone call and
amazing,
all that stuff.
Yeah, wow.
So I was just sort of at a point where I'm so depleted. I haven't done anything for myself. I haven't made any money in so long. So decided, I was walking by some open houses and went into one, and I saw the price and I'm like, oh my God, this is how much they cost now, because, I had bought mine years before, and decided, maybe I'll get my real estate license and sell houses.
Cool.
So, yeah. Aren't you still filming the reboot right now?
We are. We don't call it a reboot. Yes,
sorry. Okay.
Yes. It's okay.
I don't know what it's called.
We call it a continuation, I think.
Okay.
I think that's our official word.
Okay.
Because it's not Sex and the City, it's And Just Like That. And we have new characters, which is nice. And we're just trying to be where those people would be in their lives. So obviously we're not dating necessarily, though Miranda has blown her life up and is dating. But it's very different. It's not about finding love in the way that Sex and the City was about. It's about aging and your relationships, and you're figuring yourself out as you go still, because it never really ends, does it?
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if I described that well, but yes, we are still filming.
Well, I have to see it. I mean, is it already second or third season of that?
The third is coming. It hasn't come yet, which is somewhat miraculous that we're getting to do it. It's obviously every time everyone thinks, I think, I don't really know what people think, but it seems like everyone thinks that we're, this big franchise and people just give us things, here, do a movie, here, do another show. No, every single time we have to go re-pitch. We have to kind of basically please, please, every single time, because we're a female-based franchise. It just doesn't really happen that much. I can't think of another one that really has happened. So we're very lucky.
The success that this show had is just crazy.
It is crazy.
Also, I was in Sedona, Arizona a year and a half ago. No, actually it was spring 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And went to Devil's Bridge, which is this hike. And
I've been there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you walk out on it?
Yeah, it's scary. Right? It's scary, yeah. And those winds, it's hectic.
Yeah. So we were walking back and I was trying to find the parking. We were trying to find the parking lot with a friend of mine. And this other group was with us. And there was this younger girl and this other guy. And anyway, at some point, this guy comes up to me and said, "Hey, I just have to ask you a question for my niece, who's 17.
Wow.
She wants to know, were you on Sex and the City?"
Wow.
And I said, "Oh my God, like a 17-year-old,
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. It's Netflix.
Knew and still recognized me. I don't know how.
That's impressive.
I love that time,
Yeah,
so
I love it. I know, it is
how it
really
just keeps
odd.
going on and on and on.
Yes, it is crazy and really hard to even let really fully sink in sometimes, That's part of the reason I did this podcast, is because when I'm out in the world, the different people who come and talk to me, it's just amazing, and I thought, this is so lucky and unusual, and obviously we really worked hard, but it's just, you can really work hard and it still won't happen that way, it's not always in relationship to how hard you work, but you couldn't find a people who care about it more, a group of people who care about it more. I don't know if I said that sentence right, but all my podcast people are like, everyone cares so much. I'm like, yes, this is why we continue to do it and why we loved it. It was like our baby. We loved it so much. And the fact that it lives on is really amazing. And that's why I'm doing this, to kind of bring everyone together and share our memories, and also create community in terms of all the new people watching it versus all the original people who watched it. And I feel like it's a bridge. And there's so few of those in today's world, where you can kind of connect people of different generations, from different places, of different ethnicities. Everybody has, opinions and feelings about it. And I love that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a really weird question. I haven't asked a man this yet. Are you a Charlotte?
Oh, am I a Charlotte? I was thinking about that because I looked up the background of your character on the show, actually. Oof.
You don't have to say yes.
I was never.
Okay.
I'm slowly becoming a Charlotte.
Oh, I like that answer.
I've been in transition.
Okay, that's cool.
For the past 10 or 12 years.
I get it. That's how it is. You can be one and then you transition to another.
Relationships started getting longer.
Yeah.
Wanting more to settle down with someone.
Nice.
But it's not always so easy.
It's not easy. I'm single. I fully understand.
Yeah, me too.
Right. But this is the thing I think is important, though. You don't have to be a Charlotte. I wouldn't think badly if you said, no, I'm a Samantha. I'd be like, cool. Do you know what I mean? They all have their own thing. And I think part of it is just owning who you are.
Yeah.
right? But sometimes it's owning the changes that are happening also. You are such a sweetheart to come on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
So nice to see you. I love you too. It's so nice. And we really, really were so stupid not to have you back. Sorry.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie for sure. But I just want to be the one to say that now because I'm here. And, you know, I just feel like when I watched, I was like, it was such a different note that you brought, like a different energy, a different vibe that I felt like we needed. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was really wonderful. And I was so happy to be a part of the experience.
Hey, Brooklyn Nine-Niners, it's a reunion. The ladies of the 9-9 are getting back together for a special episode of the podcast More Better. Hosts Stephanie Beatriz and Melissa Fumero welcome friend and former castmate Chelsea Peretti.
Remember when we were in that scene where you guys were just supposed to hug and I was standing there?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, can I also hug them?
Listen to More Better with Stephanie and Melissa on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow More Better and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
I'm Emi Olea, host of the podcast Crumbs. For years, I had to rely on other people to tell me my story. And what I heard wasn't good. You really last night. It felt like I lived most of my life in a blackout. I was trapped in addiction. I had to grab the lamp and smashed it against the walls. And then I decided I wanted to tell my own story. Listen to Crumbs on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Jay Shetty. My latest episode is with financial expert Scott Galloway.
If you're doing a lot of side hustles, it's very, very difficult to be great at your main hustle. The only way you're going to build real wealth and economic security is to go all in on one thing. That is greatness, focus.
Scott is a professor of marketing at NYU Stern School of Business.
Scott Galloway.
Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Jon Stewart is back at The Daily Show, and he's bringing his signature wit and insight straight to your ears with The Daily Show Ears Edition podcast. Dive into Jon's unique take on the biggest topics in politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Joined by the sharp voices of the show's correspondents and contributors. And with extended interviews and exclusive weekly headline roundups, this podcast gives you content you won't find anywhere else. Ready to laugh and stay informed? Listen on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.